In our world, power is about who sits on the throne. In God's kingdom, power is about who hangs on the cross. We spend our entire lives trying to ascend, to be richer, stronger, and higher, not realizing that the fall of man actually started with the desire to go up. Today, we are turning the tables. We are learning to do it the Jesus way by following the paradoxical king, the one who became poor to make us rich and died so that we could truly live. Welcome to the Kernel of Wheat podcast. Today we are diving into a truth that might just change the way you look at your current struggles. God's ways are fundamentally different from man's ways. You may not understand everything God is doing in your life right now. You might be asking God to remove your enemies, but He may ask you to help them. You might be asking Him to solve your problems, but it feels like He's actually exasperating them. Think about the Israelites in Egypt. They cried out for a solution to their slavery. God heard them, but His solution led them directly to the edge of the Red Sea with an army at their backs. Sometimes God's solution to your problem is more terrifying than the problem itself. We see this most clearly in Mark chapter 14. Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. The swords are drawn. Jesus asks, "Am I leading a rebellion that you have come out with swords and clubs to capture me?" The disciples were ready for a fight, but Jesus didn't put up a fight. He gave Himself up. This was a total shock to the disciples. The Bible says they left Him and they fled the scene. They thought He was there to fight the Romans, but Christ was there to fight the root of all problems, sin. To save mankind from the greatest enemy, death. The King had to surrender. To understand this paradox, we have to look at how sin entered the world. It's all about a twisted understanding of going up. Look at Lucifer. The Bible says he said in his heart, "I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne. I'll be like the Most High." He wanted to go up above God. But the irony is that he was brought down to the depths of the pit. Then look at Adam and Eve. The serpent promised them, "You'll be like God, knowing good and evil." They wanted to go up in status. But that act is literally called the fall of man. They reached for the top and hit the bottom. Since then, we have been obsessed with power and possession. We think being a king means being served. But Christ turned the tables. He said, if you want to be powerful, you need to surrender. If you want to make an impact, you need to become a kernel of wheat. Unless the seed falls to the ground and dies, it stays alone. But if it dies, it produces a harvest. There's a brilliant book by scholar G.K. Bill called Redemptive Reversals. He talks about how the Bible is full of ironic situations where God overturns the world's wisdom by doing the opposite of what we expect. He points out that in Revelation, John is told that the lion has overcome. But when John looks, he sees a lamb that was slain. Jesus conquered the forces of evil by allowing Himself to be overcome at the cross. The cross looked like a defeat, but it was an invisible victory over every satanic force. This is why Jesus could tell His disciples before He died, "Take courage, I have overcome the world." When He died, a massive transaction took place. He became a servant so we could become kings. He was made sin so we could become the righteousness of God. He entered deep darkness, crying, my God, why have you forsaken me?" So you and I could be transferred into the kingdom of light. He became poor so that we, through his poverty, might become rich. As we wrap up today, I want to challenge you. Are you trying to ascend on your own strength? Or are you willing to be that kernel of wheat? If you feel like you are in the dirt right now, remember, that is exactly where the paradoxical king does his best work. Don't fear the burial. God is preparing a harvest. Thanks for listening to the Kernel of Wheat podcast. Join us next time as we continue our Easter series, Learning to Do It the Jesus Way. Until then, stay rooted in God's Word.